Preparing to live stream. Today would be good. And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to whatever frickin' episode number this is, because we don't remember.
25, I think.
25, maybe, kind of, sort of. Okay, I'll go with it. Yeah, it works. So anyway, welcome. Holistic Health Happy Hour. We're doing it again, and we are gonna just play with Mercury retrograde because he's been a jerk. We're just gonna leave it. I'm Julie Sherwood, your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching, joined by my hostess with the mostest,
Maria Schumacher, Vian at venus-13.com.
and our lovely astro sister, Melody Bear.
You, hi.
Hello, hello. So, well, my dear friends, we will make a very concerted effort to talk about the third quarter or the waning quarter moon for this last lunar cycle that we have just started to, well, actually, it's our eclipse season.
Yes.
So we've got this waning quarter moon. I keep wanting to say waxing. Stop it, Mercury. Waning quarter moon. We just had the solstice yesterday, and then on the 29th, we're going to have another eclipse, and this time it'll be a solar eclipse. We got a lot of going on.
We really do. We really do. There's some heavy planets right now.
Yeah, yeah. Lots, and we're still in the Pisces Palooza, and it's intensifying. So how about we pull up a chart and show the peeps what we're talking about?
I can do that. Okay.
Okay, be nice, Mercury.
Press buttons.
Yes.
Press more buttons. Okay. Should I make it bigger?
Just a teensy. Why not? Let's see if we can really challenge ourselves here.
Yeah.
All right, my dear friends, look at this beautiful chart.
So tomorrow morning at 07:22, this is what we get.
And what makes it a waning quarter moon or third quarter moon chart, pray tell, for those who may be new in the party.
Yes. Good. So, okay. Moon is square in square aspect to the sun. It's also illustrated over here on this graph a little better. Moon and sun are square to one another. That means it's a waning quarter moon. The moon that is getting smaller in the visible sky because it's about to conjoin the sun and become new is square aspect, that is to say a 90-degree angle on our little wheel here to the sun.
Yep.
And squares are always the energy of challenge.
Yes.
Again, not to try to put a value that squares are bad and trines are good, but squares are always challenging. They can lead to very beneficial things, but it's challenging energy.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are. And what makes this moon square sun so particularly challenging, Julie?
Where do we start, my friend? Well, I would say using my magic pen first, right here.
Mm-hmm.
Look at all that business. Well, I didn't mean to catch series here, but look at all this business in Pisces. Look at all this. So we've got a lot of pull, a lot of energy in the Pisces realm, which is illuminated by the sun. So there's going to be a strong pull in that direction to listen to that challenge that this square aspect brings, where the moon, being pretty much by her little lonesome here in Sagittarius, she's kind of like the little orphan in the background there, right? So I think one of the best ways to work with this energy to listen, I liken it to a knock on the door. It's a knock that's going to keep knocking until you open it. And that's the challenge, right? You can ignore it all you want, but that knocking ain't going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So the way to lean into it in my mind is lean into the energy of the moon. Because the sun's got all his buddies over here doing his gig for him. So if you lean into that energy of the moon, I think that will really, really help to balance all this watery energy.
I
And,
agree.
and what would you say, either of you ladies, that a Sagittarius moon can bring us? What kind of energy does it bring?
Optimism.
Oh, I like that. Keyword of
Yes.
the day.
Yeah. The nice thing about a Sagittarius moon is that Sagittarius is just a naturally optimistic sign. You know,
Hmm.
it wants to explore, it wants to travel because it's sort of, I don't want to say beyond insecurity, but it doesn't have the security concerns that say a Cancer might.
Hmm.
You know, it's just it's at a place where it's the highest in the chart. In a lot of ways, all of its needs are met, and it is free to conceptualize anything that it wants.
Right, right.
And take that fire, because Sagittarius is a fire sign,
Hmm.
and move with it. In this case, I think through the realm of thought. It's
Hmm.
interesting that it's a fire sign, but it's most often associated with concepts and thoughts and things that are aspirational and inspirational and intangible, and stuff that we dream about and stuff that we think about. And having just come from Ophiuchus,
Uh-huh.
which could be described as the land of the storyteller, the land of the great. I'm going to tell the story.
I just, when you said the great, I had the fleeting thought of the great and powerful Oz. I don't know why,
Kind of.
but, but that's what, those are the words that kind of came through. It's like, whoa, where did that come from?
Well, kind of,
Yeah. Yeah.
to a certain extent. Um, I wrote in my daily today. Sorry for the shameless plug, guys, but
It is, this is our channel. This is our
sometimes
office.
I
Let
am
us
my
use
own
it.
source for it. Of that, I think a particular challenge of this particular Moon Square Sun is to write the story of your future.
Mm.
And when you said, Julie, lean into that moon energy, I think that lunar energy, having just come off of Ophiuchus and the Galactic Center, is asking us to write the next chapter, right? To write the new story.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Melody, what do you, as a writer, how does
Yeah,
that
well,
grab you?
I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this a lot. And since that new moon, everything's my head is kind of undergoing total. Well, it's like a butterfly. It's the caterpillar. My inside my head is like the caterpillar, sort of in the chrysalis,
Hmm.
and it knows it's forming a butterfly. It's not sure how it's forming a butterfly, but it knows that it's forming a butterfly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Maria, when you were saying the way that the Sagittarius energy plays in terms of that expanded optimism, where there's just no what, how did you word it? You said no
Material worries. Yeah, it has all its material needs met, and it's not materially insecure.
insecure. That was the word. Because what happens is then once the moon goes into Capricorn, then the boundaries get placed, right? Capricorn, the structures, the foundations, the authority imparted upon that expanded energy. So now is the time. While this third quarter moon is going on, now is the time to really, really, really harness that energy of that Sagittarian fire.
I think so
And
too.
and not only that, the other interesting thing about this square, so I'm going to clear the drawings here, is look at what we've got going on. Well, actually, I'm going to do it even more so. This moon is being tagged by all of this energy right here.
Hmm.
So the challenge isn't just the challenge between the sun and the moon. The challenge is between the moon and Neptune, the moon and Venus, and the moon and Mercury. What do you value in the higher realms of communication?
Yeah.
Can you see it, the sun?
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know?
seriously, look at everybody that the moon is square to
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
Both of her own nodes,
yep,
Neptune, Venus, and Mercury, and the sun,
yep.
square to all of that. And all of that, Pisces Palooza is hugging close on that north node, which is
The, where we're all heading,
yeah.
to put it somewhat simply, but the nodal path again is first off, this is the transits for the collective. So how this plays into your chart would be relevant to how it hits your actual natal planetary placements. This energy of the nodes, so you've got the north node here and the south node here, this is a collective evolutionary energy that we're all being called to understand and harness, if you will. And I love how Mark Jones, under whom I studied the whole concept of the nodal path, it's not just moving from the south to the north, moving from the karmic past to what you're here to develop and learn. It's an alchemical process between the two. You have to keep pulling from the past of what you know to continue moving forward because it's not an asses and elbows journey. It's you start going a little bit, you got to pull a little from the back end. You got to go a little more, pull a little from the back end. You might be pulled back a little bit. So it's really understanding that all this energy is pointing us to that north node. And at the same time, keep your feet on the ground and don't tether off like some, helium balloons somewhere. You have to hold on to that grounding energy of Virgo.
Hmm.
So and then then of course the moon coming in to square to it is just reminding you that both of them have a balance, both of those nodes have a balance, and the moon is the fulcrum right now.
Yes, yes. And you can use that to harness both a deep understanding of what you've already mastered, where you've come from, and what you don't want, while at the same time drawing on all of the imagination and inspiration of the moon's placement and the enhanced psychicness of Pisces Palooza over there
Yes.
to imagine a few, because that south node tends to get very heavy. You know,
Yes.
that pull of I am so secure in what I don't want. I know what I don't want like the back of my hand. If there's one thing I'm sure of, it's what I don't want. And we can get pulled there and land there, and where I'm coming from suddenly becomes the land of everything I don't want. And that kind of misguided security of leaning into what you're dissatisfied with and what you don't want and what makes you angry and what you're resisting and what you're trying to move forward
Mm-hmm.
really needs almost everything that it almost needs the power of a Pisces Palooza to pull us from that, because
Mm-hmm.
we keep defaulting back. We keep defaulting back to what we already knew, even if we don't want it, because we just haven't figured out how to express ourselves in terms other than what we don't want. And
Mm-hmm.
that's I think where this Sagittarius fulcrum right now is going to really, really help. That galactic center, Ophiuchian, Sagittarius, optimistic moon fulcrum can really, really help us. Just let's get fired up about where we possibly could go
Mm-hmm.
and finally learn to express ourselves in non-specific terms of what we imagine, like a kid. You know, the innocence of a child has no idea what it doesn't want because it hasn't experienced anything yet.
Yeah. Yep. Just knows what the heck it does want. Gimme.
Exactly. And imagine if we could go back to that energy for a minute. So that I think is the deep blessing, the deep magic of this time is there is an innocence to it
Mm-hmm.
that frankly, it comes from this nerd over here.
What would this be? This little guy right here?
It'll be Dave. It'll be Uncle Dave, who's hanging out on the cusp of Aries, which is the sign of innocence,
Fire. Oh
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
the fool, that
Yes.
symbolizing the beginning of a journey where we've we're innocent again. We've sort of let go of everything. We're reborn into something that we really don't know anymore what we don't want, because everything really is possible. And maybe, we can be reborn from that constantly repeating past
Hmm.
into just the excitement of anything could happen. We have no idea what that is.
Well, and the Sagittarian aspect too, again, is like you were saying, the expansion process and the counterpoint of Gemini. Gemini is the data gatherer, just gather data for the sake of gathering data, whereas Sagittarius says, what is the wisdom in everything?
Yeah.
So, and then the moon is, what is the wisdom of the internal emotional soul? Can you tap into that
Yes.
and use the Pisces intuition of Neptune hanging out there? You've also got Mercury and Venus in retrograde. So
Hmm.
they're pulled back. So that chattery energy of Mercury is hanging in the background to allow the more creative, intuitive, divine messages of Neptune to come through,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah. Melody, any thoughts on anything? Not to put you on the spot, but if something grabs you, just
No,
jump
no, I was just thinking about it. That I was thinking of Uncle Dave. I'm seeing that he's trying the South Node, and I'm feeling that that gives you that lighten up, that sort of South Node, all that innocence, that it amplifies that innocence you're talking about,
in.
and
Yeah.
and new things, making something new, or even rethinking the past, seeing it differently.
Ooh, I like that.
Yes. Yes. Well said, Melody.
I'm
Yeah.
experiencing that myself.
Oh, yeah. How?
Well, just a whole bunch of stuff that, my typical ways of doing things and trying to control everything. And I'm just seeing certain things in a different way that gives me a way forward, because I'm going, oh, it's not that impossible hurdle I thought it was. Actually, if I do something different, and given Neptune and I've got Chiron, my natal Chiron and my natal Jupiter in play with all of this stuff. So it's sort of that thing about feeling the energies, and this is a challenge, and a challenge is an opportunity. And yeah, you've got these opportunities and these energies that you can work with. And if you look at your own chart, see where that is. My Jupiter is in the 11th house, so it's a making community, which is I've been wanting to do and wanting to do. And this thing about rethinking the past, sort of rethinking how I react to things and how I go about attracting this stuff that seems so elusive. And now I'm going, no, no, I can do this. I can remake my past almost to help it impel me towards my future.
I love that. Yay. So this
Beautifully
I'm
put.
gonna, and I'm gonna take this opportunity to do a shameless plug because this is a perfect example of something we can talk about in our constellational conversations group that we're offering as an opportunity for people who are somewhat neophyte to the astrology or more experienced to the astrology. It's like, how do you have these conversations to learn not only about the archetypal energies, but how they talk to each other in the transits and with your chart? And what Melody just illustrated is a perfect example of how we can illuminate that for you in a constellational conversation where you have a discussion process to learn to have the language and the understanding of the astrology. So just keep your eyes open. We'll keep posting and we'd love to have you join us. And I don't care. I'm going to just do it. So nee, 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 nee.
Constellational conversations, or this, this little venture that we've just started, is something that Julie and I have been dreaming of since what, 2020. We've been talking about doing something like this. And the stars somehow didn't align for us until just a few weeks ago when we decided, now is, I think, the time to pull this off. So this is something very near and dear to our hearts.
Hmm.
And it's hard to plug it, because there's a lot of programming that we are having to let go of in order to be able to say, no, we are super excited about this and we want this to succeed.
Yeah.
So anyway,
And just having the faith that like Melody illustrated, just go with the flow of what's coming up with Pisces. However it comes, you surrender into it, and
mhm,
it's divinely perfect as it shows up.
right.
The other notable thing that keeps nagging at me here is this other square right here. Mr. Mars hanging out in square to Chiron.
Yeah.
So he's just about finishing up Gemini. So he's still getting a bit of momentum and gathering all that data, being,
Mhm.
assertive and action oriented toward the data. But it's also, Gemini is also the communicating sphere of sphere of the chart. What we're doing right now is very Gemini, teaching, talking, exchanging ideas. And if we can do it in a way that heals this chironic suffering that we've been hanging out with
That,
forever and a
yes,
day. God,
right. Yeah.
you know?
That finally taking action to address the Chiron wound
Yeah, yeah. And do it
instead of,
through learning and exchanging and getting things from each other. How are you managing this energy? I don't know. How are you managing this energy? What are you doing with it? I don't know. What are you doing with it? Oh, I never thought of that. Like Uranus and Taurus for Melody. Oh, wow, that's a great way to look at that. And as each one of us do this as individuals, then the collective can't help but heal
yeah,
that suffering, right?
yeah.
Because we all bring a heal, well, we're never 100% healed because it's a journey until the day we're gone in this body. But, the more this chironic energy is transmuted and transcended, the more healed as an entity that the collective becomes. So, okay, we just saved the world. What else we got going on?
Nice. And that only took us like what, 30 minutes.
Oh yeah,
It's a
see?
new record.
Well, Saturn has no boundaries in time right now hanging out in Pisces. So,
You know what, Saturn? Let's talk about that, because there are two, I wrote about this in my dailies too. We've got a couple of important sextiles that might get missed. One of them is a Saturn-Uranus sextile.
okay. That was
Okay?
here to here. Okay.
Yep. Saturn to Dave in sextile. Sextile being creative energy.
Mhm.
So Saturn having entered Pisces enough, or at least gotten close to Pisces enough, that dissolving should start,
Right.
right? That we should really start feeling. And let's face it, I think that we're all starting to feel the dissolution of things, right?
Things with structure. Yes.
Of structures, of concepts, maybe even, literal things dissolving. Um, Honestly, the potential for blocks in your body also dissolving is a real thing too, but we'll save that for another conversation. But again, as long as he's in sextile with Uranus, if there's something that you would like to dissolve, now is the time, right? Um, and I'm thinking specifically of things like, if a doctor ever told you that you have a blood clot, a kidney stone, a something that your body needs to dissolve and pass through. Now, again, I'm not a doctor.
No, no, no health advice. Just
Yeah,
illustration and examples.
no health advice, but this might be a time when an out of left field, holy shit, I never thought of that creative way to dissolve that from your body comes to you if you allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with um I think imagination, right? Like do you find that you tend to loop a story in your head? Or are you now able to go, okay, can I resolve all of my old tales in such a way that moving forward, there's nothing but possibility?
Yeah, because when something dissolves, then the
Hmm.
and I am not a physicist. There's some fancy term for when you move energy, energy comes back in in equilibrium, basically.
Yeah,
The
it
universe likes
can,
things in balance.
yeah, yeah, it really can never be created or destroyed. It just changes form.
Right.
So, so just sort of super creative things like that, where things that had form are unforming, but able to not even reform, but just that the fact that they dissolve suddenly leaves room for a different a Uranian possibility.
Mm.
Yeah, the example that just came to my mind is like an ice cube. So the ice cube has form, it has structure, it's something you can hold on to, but as it melts, it becomes water. And
Yeah,
it's still form, but it's not that same rigid form. It's just the boundary.
indeed.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I can't drink it as long as it's an ice cube.
right,
I can't drink it until it melts, really.
right,
So yeah.
right. It's
A-
interesting. Time has
Anyway,
been odd.
Yes,
what's
there's
that?
Go ahead, Melody.
the water, and of course, water, the Pisces, the water. Water is such an appropriate, ice and liquid water is such an appropriate um, thing to think of in terms of Pisces.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's all dissolving. And
Oh,
I think the other thing about Saturn and Pisces too is this relationship we have with time
mm-hmm,
and structure and
mm-hmm.
rigidity, form, routine. Mercury rules your daily routine too. Like Melody was saying, seeing things in a different light from my past, in how I viewed things, it can create the possibility for a whole new routine, a whole new perspective to create something completely different that you never even thought of.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the other sextile that's happening that is worth taking a look at is Venus and Pluto.
Ooh.
Now there's a
Ah,
sextile. They just perfected, I think, yesterday. And I mean, talk about the ability to begin a process of creating from a place of love
hmm.
what really has value.
Yep. Yep. And that's illuminated by this conjunction with the sun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really got a lot of fire behind it, literally.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
think that allows for that possibility to really come forward.
Yeah, and tapping into the psychic realms,
Mm.
the inner places of what do we deeply value, not just what we're told to value. Wah, 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 but I think you know what I mean. The what do we value, because Pisces Palooza, right? That's where it is, and we're asked to look into that deep place. Retrogrades.
Pluto,
Yup.
Pluto.
Um, mhm.
Yep.
And build from a very transformative, or at least bring forth creation, transformation. I love Venus Pluto contacts. I really
Mhm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. And the sextile, there's something about this that I thought would be fun. So let's talk about that more. Let me shut up and let you girls give me your impression of this sextile.
Well,
Well,
it's, go
oh,
ahead, Melody. Go for it.
yeah. I see this as more, we've got the individual level we're talking about, but I see this as a very big, deep humanity level of transforming the way we think about love and the way we express love, all of that.
Mm-hmm. That
I
makes
love that.
and we have some time to do it because of this retrograde. You know,
Yeah.
because she's gonna back up, well, perceivably, back up for a little while, and then she's gonna go forward again. So it's gonna hit Pluto again.
Hmm.
So it's like right now, really consider what that means, what you just said, Melody. We all sit back and go, huh, what do we really value? Not only as individuals, but as a humanity. And are
Yeah.
we bringing in that divine energy? However, people relate to that energy, are we using that as the focal point to come to that understanding? Or, like you said, Maria, wah, 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 you know, are we
Right.
what people tell us or whatever? So, this is the time. And then once we think we sort of got it, we get another chance to really solidify it when Venus goes back
And
direct.
put that into motion when everything's
Yes,
direct again. Yes.
yes,
Yes. Yeah. So
absolutely.
what do we really love? And can we create and are we transforming ourselves to create from there?
Right,
I
right.
just I love this. Honestly I love Pluto Venus contacts.
Well, and Pluto again is death rebirth, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, he's the old yank the rug out from under you. I don't care what you're doing.
And
There's
there
no,
are times when you just need that.
yep,
You simply need that transformative, but they can also be ecstatic,
yes,
right? There's a certain amount of, at the risk of sounding entirely insane, certain amount of ecstasy in the surrender to Plutonian processes,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Especially,
I agree entirely.
yeah, especially if you understand it's not just death; it's also rebirth.
Yes.
So the death process, the rug being yanked out from under you, may very well create that level of oh my God. But as soon as you get to that other side and exhale and breathe again, wow, what a
And you get
possibility.
to enjoy that moment of free fall in the middle. You know what I mean? It's
Hmm.
which is hard to explain, but anybody I think who's ever like taken a zip line or parachuted or just that moment when you know you're in free fall is very ecstatic. Is it really is.
Well, and it can also be likened to sexual energy. You
Yep.
know, that final release, it's that same kind of death rebirth process, even just in such a level of intimacy and vulnerability with a partner.
Mhm.
And it, yeah, it's a great it's sextile. You know, we don't want to lose that opportunity.
Well, there is that, and there is that point of no return in a sexual encounter.
Yep.
When you know you have no choice, but here comes the Plutonian energy, wham, and there you go. Um,
I
you
love
know,
those effects
so we have that to look forward to. Um,
more than once.
yeah,
More than once. But you know what's drawing my attention to this lovely energy, because sextiles can be just lovely energy. You know, they're
it
not
really can.
they're not the well, Pluto's involved, but besides that, you know, it's not a smack upside the head like squares can be. But
Or even like quintiles can be. Quintiles have a
yes,
level of intensity that
yeah,
can be too much, but sextiles really are lovely energy. Yes.
yeah, yeah. But the other thing that's dawning on me, and it just goes to what Melody was saying and what you've been saying, Maria, about this beautiful energy between the Venus and Plutonian love energy, if you will, is this is a beautiful opportunity with both chances of the perfection of this sextile for us to look at. I'm going to go right to Julie's mantra of the season: be the string. the string of Pisces, to pull the polarities together in a way where we stand on the string first. You know, the human experience is all about duality and polarity. That's why we're here. You know, you can't know cold if you don't know warm, and so on. But I think this sextile energy, especially with the retrograde hitting it twice, is really our opportunity now to understand that, you know, we don't have to be so far apart. We can start to come together. Doesn't mean you abdicate and get walked all over and let go of things that you hold dear to your heart in terms of your beliefs and whatever. But at the same time, can you be the string? This is the calling to do that, I think. So, my opportunity to keep my mantra going. Be
Be
the
the
string.
string.
And I mean that little, the knot, the string right between the two
Mm-hmm.
fish of opposition.
Does
Those
it
fish
put
would
you
swim
on,
away and pull apart if that string weren't there.
does it put you on the spot to say which of these planets is closest to the actual star that represents the string? Or is that too hard to ask?
That's too hard an ask for me right now. Mercury retrograde.
I think Mercury is closest to the string right now, although it may actually be Chiron.
Right. Oh, well, both of those are good because Mercury is like you know, if you've got this division
Mm-hmm.
and you're being the string, you're rethinking your attitude towards the other.
Yeah.
The Chiron is you're healing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Mercury is right here and Chiron is here. So they're actually framing it, if you think about it.
Right. Yes. It's a beautiful pattern.
Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because just looking at all of the symbology, it looks like Mercury and Chiron are conjunct with one another, but just because of the placement of the symbols. But no, they're actually one's at 16 and one's at 32 degrees. So they're actually this far apart right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that knot's got to be right in the middle.
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah, yeah. This is where we need River or Uma to, you know, the star
The
guys.
star people.
Yeah, what was that? What was that star again?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, hang on now. Hang on now.
We can't all be experts in everything, but that's okay. But it's a good question, Melody. I appreciate that question because that makes a good point. So
Right.
that if we understand which star that is, this would be a great time to work with that energy.
Um,
Are you using your moon to seek higher wisdom?
no, I'm using Stellarium to find Chiron in the sky. Chiron. Chiron and Eris are the closest to that meeting point of the strings.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of sense with Chiron being the one.
Yeah.
Because Eris is going to be there forever.
Eris is going to be there forever, but Chiron is near, let's see, which is kind of cool. He's uh,
Well, the
pressing
chance for healing.
buttons. Sorry.
Do you want to show Stellarium? Can you switch the like
Yeah, hang on just a
share?
sec.
Yeah, let's do that. Then we can
Okay.
show the peeps what you're looking at.
Show the folk.
And this is also another good demonstration of how you can use these other apps to replicate what's going on in the sky. You know, so if some people who choose not to use the sky don't agree with you, this is a way to show them. Just another opportunity to slide that
Yeah,
in.
well, they say that this is happening in Aries, so there goes my toad again. My poor toad. It kind of makes me seem like a jerk. That's okay. See? So here's Pisces.
Yep.
There's Chiron.
Ah, okay. And the knot would be right down here.
Yep.
And the
Eris is way down here
Okay.
right now. She's darn near in Cetus. But Chiron is the closest to on the string, which is interesting because isn't that where we have the wound is on the string,
Yes.
right? On the point where we all want to feel connected,
Mm-hmm.
but are just afraid You know, and I can't blame us if feeling connected to others suddenly means we have to face what we've done to wound, how we've been responsible for creating that wound.
Mhm.
That's hard.
Yeah. But
That's
you know,
hard. Yeah.
yes, and this is the time to allow the waters of Pisces to wash over us.
Yeah.
And Venus, I think, is going to help us with that, you know.
And
And
forgive yourself. It's that thing about
yes,
forgiving yourself.
Hmm.
So
yes.
acknowledging what you've done, but forgiving yourself for what you've done.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. And it's nice that these two are in retrograde, giving us that opportunity to really take our time with this. Because these guys are fast movers. They're high by Sia. But right now, the fact that they're retrograde in Pisces is by no accident. It's by no accident. This is the divine asking us to really take that time.
This is also apparently the end of another big long Mayan calendar cycle kind of thing, or the end of, what was it, Kali Yuga?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. So again, it's no accident
Yeah.
that these things are happening the way they're happening in the sky. This really is, and for the collective, this is the transits.
Hmm.
So this is a really wonderful way or a wonderful time to really get to know your chart, especially that part of your chart.
Yeah.
Where is this knocking on your door?
Hmm. I know all of the Neptune readings that I've done have been just so rewarding in that way. And it's good. It's good to at least know where Pisces, the beginning of Pisces is in your chart. That's all you've got to know. It
Yep,
doesn't even need to be a full-blown reading. Just be familiar enough with your chart that you can go, ooh, this is happening in my X house.
right.
And then you can start almost doing your own research. You don't even need us. You can just put it all together, or you can talk. But yeah, every single person I've done the Neptune reading for has been like, this just makes so much more sense of everything now. And yeah, and then you go forth in the world feeling not defective because you understand that the complete and utter weirdness you're feeling in this aspect of your life is totally normal given the conditions of the time. And what a blessed way to feel.
Yeah. Well, and like Melody was saying, it's happening pretty much in her 11th house. Probably what, 11th, 12th,
Um.
or 10th,
Yeah.
11th?
Yeah. That'd be right.
Okay, because Pisces is such a big constellation. For most people, it'll straddle at least, well, it will straddle at least two houses. And for me, it's the sixth, seventh. Pisces is literally bisected by my descendant. So for me, it's all about how am I bringing myself in service to others and creating these relationships that are healing and go into flow and all of that. And not only for the people with whom I do this work or have these encounters, but it's also for myself because it's a two-way street. It's a reflective dynamic. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's for me, it's um I'm
most
gonna share it, you guys. Here we go.
it's mostly your
I'll share
12th.
my chart. What the hell? So here we go. We're guinea pigging me for this. Um, it's happening right here at the cusp of 11th and 12th.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's conjunct my Chiron, conjunct the wound that I came in with, that I'll, need to face what happened, how I may have contributed to it being there.
Hmm.
S- Something that I'm very familiar with. Um, Also how the community that I have that supports my healing, or that I am able to better support through this alchemy. That's the 11th house part of it.
Hmm.
12th house part.
Well, and you also have the dynamic tension of everything going on in your sixth house with Virgo.
Yep.
So you do have you, I think, have greatest opportunity to find a lovely balance in all of that because of that, or challenge, you know.
Well, and it's all also happening in square to my sun.
True. Very
So
true.
I have not only a balance, but I have a dynamic tension with an urge to really
Look
do some work, to move, to make things happen, to
and see it.
do the, yeah, to do the healing alchemy, to do the things
Yep. Yep.
in instead of just be part of it. And it's just like, nope, take the action. If
Well, and being on the galactic center with your son, it's like an opportunity of rebirth not only for you, but for those you serve.
oh,
It
thanks.
really is. It is. And I think using, I'm going to do another shameless plug, and using the wonderful gifts you're bringing with this Neptunian energy and the readings for people. A lot of us don't connect, people, Mars, Venus, Sun, Moon, yeah, we can do all that. But a lot of people really don't understand that energy of Neptune. And I think by your bringing your own strong Neptunian energy to the table and helping people at the same time to see how that energy can be used in their own charts, it is very galactic center rebirthy. How many other astrologers out there are doing that kind of thing?
I
It's
haven't
very
seen
unique.
anybody, honestly, I haven't seen anybody that did a special Neptune reading here. People will usually do the lunar transit and the solar transit, how that's affecting you, and it's not that I'm competing with my fellow astrologers, it's just that, oh my God, Neptune is huge right now, and so few people get her
Mhm.
on the level that I do, and it was just like I can help with this. I can help with this. So,
Well,
yeah.
and by modern rulership, that's your chart.
It is my chart ruler.
Yeah,
I am the high priestess of Neptune. It's true
I will concur, my
in
friends.
every
I will
way.
concur. Yes, yes. So you can hit up our lovely hostess here. I mean, and I'm not saying that just because Maria's a dear star sister. I really honestly believe that this is a beautiful gift. It's to help all of us, if we understand this energy, to transcend that chironic energy of Pisces too. If we understand what Neptune is telling us and asking of us, to really tap into that divine connection,
So
then
then,
again, we can all help transcend this chironic
yeah.
suffering.
So then, okay, then I will do a couple of shameless plugs of my own for
Please.
you too. So then, when you do understand Neptune and how she really functions in the sky instead of just the old, patriarchal short-sighted illusion and delusion thing where people stop. And then understand all of the transformation is happening for you and maybe the kind of healing that you need to do. Then you can reach out to one of these two girls, either, ask Melody to do a drum circle for you because that is so healing. I can't even tell you, just sitting with rhythm
Mhm.
or just like
A partner.
tapping into an earth-based rhythm. A drum circle can be such a healing thing. Or reaching out to Julie with one of her root cause therapy
Mhm.
sessions, or a few of her root cause therapy sessions. All right, now I understand what I need to heal. Where do I go for help healing it?
Well, and root, there's that Virgoan stuff. And same with the drum circle, right? It's that earthbound heartbeat. It's that feeling, that connection through something that it activates the senses and then transcends it through the journey, right? Through the
Yes.
journey.
Yep.
It's
Two things.
it's
I just had a check of my natal chart, and this Pisces is actually my 10th and 11th.
10th
So
and
it's
11th.
infinity
Okay.
and legacy, which is pretty cool because that's
Yes.
what I see coming up.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. The other thing I was thinking about too is how Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So Venus is transactional love, if you will, in an exchange kind of way, whereas Neptune is more the universal higher consciousness love, the unconditional, the divine love.
Yeah, I
So
think as close to unconditional as we'll be able to understand in,
yes,
yeah.
yes, and Venus is retrograde right now, so this is the time.
Hmm.
This is the time. So, well, my dear, lovely star sisters, I think we'll call it good as far as the recording.
I
Um,
agree.
yes, so I am going to again remind everybody Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching, yourbesthopeswc.com. You can reach out to me or my lovely co hostess. How do we find you, my dear?
Venus-13.com or Vian, Vianne, my nom de plume, at venus-13.com. Or we're all over Facebook. Radical Astrology, we each have a Facebook page.
Cosmic Reflection.
Cosmic Reflections.
Yep.
Constellational Conversations is our baby. We would love for you to join us.
Yes, yes. And you can always post a message here in the chat once you see it on replay. That's
Yeah,
totally the YouTube chat. I'll see it. And you can reach out if you have questions. And have a great
Yeah.
third quarter waning quarter moon. All right. And